Spirit Sparkplugs helped in a huge amount because where I had I'd put like 10-15 hours a day, you know, just replying to emails and stuff and focusing on others. I didn't have enough time to focus on myself or wallow in, you know, my situation. And even now, if I put my eyes on my reality and my situation, it overwhelms you. But if I take my eyes off myself and I put it onto others and helping others, my situation, like, I don't have time to focus on it, so I just get on with, and it gives me an ability, like, it gives me a meaning and a purpose. It gives my life meaning and purpose. And I used a lot of functional reactive rehabilitation, like, so doing things with my hands instead of repetitive, you know, and I did huge amounts of like this, like, you know, hours and hours a day, but also the functional reactivation and the functional rehabilitation helped graduate me slowly from my bed to then being able to do, you know, getting into my walker and being up, and then, you know, getting into town and sending the packages with Dad, you know, and then my home helper, and then finally getting into a flat, and where I'm at now is just like, you know, like, if you don't have community, you don't have much. And I relapsed 3 months after I moved to Hamilton. I had 2 months in hospital and 4 months in subacute rehab and another number of months unwell, and it's just been a slow claw back. But I don't, you know, as I said, if you don't have community, you don't have much. And so my goal and my journey here has been about getting connected and involved. And I think that community, healthy community, is having your own personal community involved in lots of sub-communities within. Like, you have your own personal community, and then you have our wider community. But I think a healthy community is having community in lots of little communities. So I've got my community in church at Gateway. I've got my community with my gardening friends that I've built up and met through different websites and a Facebook group. And then, you know, I've got my community in Time Bank, and I've got my community with getting involved in the disability sector, and I've got my work community. And, you know, there's a lot of support for well-known illnesses, but if you've got a rare illness, there's not often a lot of support. And it was certainly a gap we were noticing, where there were kids and families that felt very isolated and felt very alone and felt very much like they were doing their journey on their own. So, you know, and we experienced that in my own life and in my own family. And so Spirit Sparkplugs offered the ability to bridge a gap between two very separate worlds, you know, the world where well people and people who didn't understand chronic illness or know what that was about, and then obviously the families who are in the depths of illness and struggling and disability. And so one of the things we did is we took people's journals and websites, you know, the kids, our Spirit Sparkplugs kids who had journals and websites, we paired them with a family or a young person who stood up and said, I want to follow that child's website, and I commit to following this child's website and leaving a message on their journal once a week, just to know that someone outside of their world was thinking and caring and praying for them, and someone outside of their world cared, you know. And it also showed that person that, you know, or that family, we had families take it on, that actually we're blessed for the little things and the small things, and it's not about having the new fancy toys or this, but it changes your perspective. And it just offered a bridge for people to help and get involved where they otherwise didn't know how or where to. Probably one of the most touching ones was someone had quilted a pillow, so they'd cross-stitched this little girl onto the front of it playing with a dog, and there was another little girl on it, and they'd put a pretty girly pattern around the outside, and they'd donated a set of, I think it was 11 of these pillows for us to send out to kids that were, and we personalised each pillow to the child. And the mother a few years later sent me a photo with, I'll call her Mary, sleeping in her bed, and she had this pillow under her. And it was so sweet because she said she still used it and slept with it every night and still grabbed it when she wasn't feeling well, and that was probably, it was really touching. and also just to know the many letters we've got back thanking us for being involved and for being the ones, like, to feel like there were other people around them, you know, by the letters we organised to have sent to them by lots of different people. Or we had Disney letters from Disneyland sent by specific characters to write. I think we had 25 letters from Disneyland sent with Disneyland letterheads and everything to the childs from their favourite Disney characters, and they were personalised and they were signed, you know, Mickey Mouse or Tinkerbell or Goofy, and that was really cool. Superman, and those kids got the letters framed officially, and we had them also sent to the siblings of not just the child struggling, but all of the siblings, because illness affects the whole family, and to see those kids, you know, still having those letters on their walls and know how much that meant to them, that's pretty cool too.